Another day, another episode of the Funky Marketing Show. Today, I have a pleasure to be joined by my good friend Milovan Milosevic, who is CEO of DriveSales and the podcast of the new show that you are about to hear, which is called DriveSales Show. But before we jump into that, let's hear that funky intro. It always gets me pumped. Milovan, my friend, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. How are you doing, my man?
Doing good. It's too damn hot.
Oh, I know. I just walked in. It's absolutely unbearable right now.
Yeah, but anyway, and we are all drinking too much coffee, so that's not good.
Don't get me started on coffee. I had to start decaf in my detox sessions. So let's not go. That's a painful topic for me right now.
Yeah. Okay. So an information for everyone, we didn't tell them what we're going to talk about here today, but we're going to talk about the industry that not many people are talking about, and it's the huge industry that impacts so many lives and touches so many different industries beside it. It's the moving industry. And today we're going to talk about the state of the industry, how we can transform it, how you guys are doing that. And also we're going to touch sales, because that's where your background is. And that's where you got some awesome results. How many? 30 millions closed in services and sales, right?
Yeah. So it's been in the last couple of years, let's say 4 or 5 years. I think it's over $30 million closed, both in SaaS and in direct to consumer in moving services. So yeah, that's where the kind of background comes from generally.
Yeah, that's some results, right? Something not many people have accomplished in so little time. Let's call it like that.
To be fair, I never thought of it that way until a friend of mine told me. We were chatting about what I started in terms of the company. And then he's like, but dude, you sold over X amount of $1 million in moving services. I never thought about actually putting it that way because, I mean, it's an undeniable truth. It's not just me. Let's be clear. It's not just me. There's a big team behind this. It's not like I'm the only person there. I couldn't have done it without a team that I was with at that time. So that has to be said.
Yeah. I mean, that's how the best sellers are talking, and the best entrepreneurs. It's always the team that stands behind us. But let's give a kind of a perspective of the listeners, because usually here we're talking about about B2B tech, about tech companies. But let's go ahead and see so DriveSales is basically SaaS, a company that's that's providing basically CRM for moving companies and much more. So tell us a little bit about that, and then let's talk about why moving industry company and the companies so they need those stuff.
Yeah, so thanks for asking me. So a couple of things. So what DriveSales is, we've built a moving system that basically helps moving companies operate from their day-to-day, from start to finish. But it's not necessarily focused specifically on operational piece like majority of other moving softwares. It's more focused on closing deals. So what that means, it's more sales driven. It's something that I would have wanted to have in previous companies that I've been with. So basically when a lead comes in, the point is to make sure that the lead has always the relevant information in it, that basically you can automate the follow-ups, that you can create the stages in your sales process, that you can organize everything if you're a moving company that will allow you to close more business. I'll give you guys a perspective why that's important. So coming from a SaaS sales prior, it's a lot different to what what people think about in terms of follow-ups within moving industry versus B2B sales follow-ups and how the cadences are set up and all that good stuff. So in moving industry, when the summer hits, like we're hitting summer right now, you will have so much work that if the person that called you yesterday to move doesn't confirm an appointment with you on that day, you will not call them again. Because today you will have X amount of people calling you, because currently the industry is suffering in terms of labor issues. There's not a lot of drivers, there's not a lot of packers, there's not a lot of people that can actually fulfill the demand that's happening. So that's a huge problem. So I want people to understand that it's not necessarily the same. Oh, they're not going to follow up. So that's not easy. It's, in B2B sales or whatever type of sales, B2C sales, it's easier to set up. But 70 to 75% of all generated revenue in general for moving companies happens in like a 4-month period of all the revenue. So prices go up 20, 30% because the demand is high. And the prices now obviously have gone up because of the gas prices and everything else that's happening. So just a quick perspective of why that is so crucial for moving companies, that to optimize how they handle the people that are interested. So you might not get to them today, but you can automate your follow-ups in terms of text and emails, however you deem fit, however you set them up, to make sure that if the customer is actually interested, you will get a chance to talk to them when they're ready to be, talking about their move.
Nice. I mean, it reminds me of like what the situation today in Novi Sad. It's a like moving industry. It's a developing industry, and like everybody's trying to get somewhere, but there are like so many cars that cannot get there because they need to transform the way they are going to get to that direction. We need to invest in different stuff to go in. I don't know, metro, subway, public transportation, different kind of stuff. And I guess in this way, if you look at it from the moving industry perspective, you guys are giving them basically automating the way they can reach their targets by using the buyer's journey that their targets actually have, just automating those ways in which they are reaching them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a sales automation play. There's all sorts of other specific segments to the software. Basically, it has like a warehousing component where people can manage their own storage facilities. It has a logistical component to it. It has a video survey component to it. It has a quoting and tariff component to it. So there's all sorts of different plays. It's a complex and robust system that we launched actually on Monday. And so it's very new. It's been in the making. So, I mean, it's not necessarily that play, but I just want to make sure that people understand that this is the priority, because that will allow moving companies to generate more revenue than they are right now, hopefully. So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, like, pretend that I'm somebody that doesn't know anything about the moving industry, and I don't know much, to be honest. But you know, tell me a little bit, why are all those things that you just mentioned, like video service, warehousing, those kind of things, why those things are important for the industry, and why it is important to do it in a different way, basically to transform the way they are doing it, the way we are measuring those stuff, why it's important for that, for whole industry to transform.
Yeah, so I'll give one example. So Department of Defense in the United States has made it mandatory for moving companies from next year to have digital inventories. So basically what that means is that the customers or people, military members, will be able to use the digital inventory, which means they can add items, subtract items on their iPad, on their phone, or whatever, and they can change it, add stuff. In the past, or how it's done currently, it's most times it's a piece of paper that has been sent and showed to the customer, hey, this is a list of items that we are going to ship. Do you agree? Sign here. That's it. So I won't say the majority of the industry, but a vast portion of it is still on some sort of a piece of paper or some outdated software. Not all softwares are outdated, granted. So I'm not saying that. There are some good softwares out there. And why it's important to have video surveys. So for example, think about COVID. And the reason is you don't want anybody in your house why would you want anybody in your house looking at the stuff that you're moving? You can have it done through a video call, like we're doing, like with the rise of Zoom, Google Meets, and all that good stuff. You're actually able to use tech to remove the travel time, the cost of going to a person's house, the commute there. So in the past, people had to drive, I don't know, an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours to someone's home, walk through their home with the customer, schedule it, drive back to generate one quote for that move. And then it's custom that people get 3 or more quotes. So when you do all that work for, at the best, 33% chance of closing that deal. So if you remove the commute, if you remove all the other costs that come with it, you're able to actually do more appointments, be safe first and foremost, and actually provide an easier experience for the customer, because they can pick and choose a time that works for them. It doesn't necessarily have, they don't have to take a day off work. You can do it 7, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., doesn't really matter, weekends. So that's another benefit. In terms of storage, why that's important, for example, what I heard happen from multiple people is you get your items put in a storage facility, right? And then all of a sudden you're storing that for like a year. Everything changes, and if the mover doesn't necessarily know where your stuff is, your box can be gone to a different house. It can be lost in the warehouse. All sorts of things can happen, that you just misplace stuff and you label it wrong, and then like honestly, all hell breaks loose, because the customers are expecting you to take care of their stuff. So these are all the ways that we able to improve the way it's operating right now, by actually pinpoint where items are located in the warehouse, so they can create sections and they can add items specifically and so on.
Yeah, and I'm not now gonna look uh like the guy that we both know, like Istok Pavlovich. Hello for Istok if he's listening, because like once I was talking to him and I was giving him all those details, insights, and those kind of stuff, and he asked me like, "So seems like you know what you're talking about. Where did you learn all the stuff?" So I'm gonna ask you the same question. So like, how did you get to the point that you have all those information, that you are starting the company and you know your customers in so many details?
Oh, wow. It's been a painful process, let me tell you that. It's been a proper painful process. So when I started in the moving industry, I had no idea, first of all, it existed. I had no idea what it was. It existed. I started basically as a telemarketer.
Hmm.
And I was selling a SaaS play to movers. And that's how my journey in the moving industry started. And as I started talking to movers, literally, I picked it up from them. I went to the States, obviously. I spent some time there, went to conference, met a bunch of people, obviously loaded a couple of trucks. Um, let's just say a couple. And then it's just, I learned from them by being around them and interacting with them. And, it now sounds, oh my God, this guy knows the industry inside and out. But I honestly learned by trial and error. So at that company, I had a pretty significant team. There's like over 60 something people that reported up to me at one point, and the majority of that was operations and sales. So all sorts of things happen. Like, I just don't want to go in all the problems that jumped out for me to learn things that I actually didn't know. So there's specifics about items, how they have to be packed, how they have to be cared for, how they have to be transported, how you tie them in a truck if you're shipping a motorcycle, if you're shipping a car, if you're shipping whatever chandelier. It's a different ball game, because people just think like moving niche. Oh, you take items, you put them in a truck, you move them, because that's how I've done it in Belgrade. Honestly, I bring my best man. Hey, and this is what I tell them. Hey, man, I have some serious topics to discuss with you. It's a very high level intellectual conversation. I need you to come over to my place. It's like, what the hell is happening? So he walks out like, we're moving this closet. Pick up the chair. I'll talk to you on the way there. So, I mean, it's trial and error and being surrounded by great people. And moving industry is filled with great people, to be quite frank. And they had patience for people that are new, like I was. And through leading and scaling different teams and hiring a bunch of people, I've learned what needs to happen for this industry to get where it should be, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. And also, like, one thing that we didn't mention, and I think it affected also to solve all those things that you didn't want to mention, like troubles in building teams and who to hire and what else, is your background in football and being a
Oh,
team player.
the thing is, after my footballing career, I was an entrepreneur doing my footballing career. I had a couple of coffee shops that I managed and sold that business off. Then I actually ended up in diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in diplomacy for 2 years. That sounds very awkward. How you go from footballing career to diplomacy to moving? It makes absolutely no sense to anybody. It doesn't make sense to me still, but that's how it ended up. I was selling something that is probably one of the toughest things to sell because that was my job, and I was selling at that point NATO to Serbians.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Not. I mean, yeah. Anyway, it's not. But the point of that is I've learned how to interact with people who are way above my pay grade, and that's the main takeaway, honestly, from that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that step is, at least for us from Balkans, working worldwide, is in lots of cases like the stone we need to turn to get to where we want to go. Because, like, if you look at the salaries and everything here, and if you just look at our parents, like, that's what they are earning, and what can we earn now by being ourselves and by just showing what we know and putting it in practice.
Yeah,
It's unmeasurable.
it's a
And
different ball game. Yeah.
exactly, and you need to to break it down to that point where that's normal for you.
And the thing is that I've been advocating this for a while now, even before COVID hit, is regardless of where you live, if you contribute to the company, wherever the company may be, if you contribute equally, I mean, people will say geographic location matters. It does. It absolutely does,
Hmm.
because housing is a different beast in different areas of the world. But people should get treated fairly, regardless. So
Yeah, and I know to continue now, just to mention, because you have an interesting point of view when it comes to personal branding of the people who are working with you.
yeah.
And I think I want to get you to talk a little bit about that, because I think lots of companies and entrepreneurs need to learn from you when it comes to how you are thinking about those things.
Cool. So I'm not sure if people will learn much, but I'll share my humble opinion. So anyway, anytime you start a company, like I've done just now, is when people are working with me, I have 3 people that joined me and started with me within the company, right? And the main way that I want people to be successful, not necessarily just within my company, but to be successful when they leave my company and do other great things, because they're all super capable of going and doing amazing things. I'm not saying they won't do it here, but I want them to build a personal brand that will allow them to market who they are, and that way attract customers for, obviously, my company, but attract people who are like-minded like them, so they can bring their micro community and can take it with them wherever they go, because I truly believe that is something that, well, more companies should be doing, and then organic and content growth through employees. And the thing is, I'm not specifically forcing them to do anything. um, I'm advising in terms of what I personally believe they should, but at the end of the day, it's in their hands, and I just think it's super beneficial if they do it or not. So
basically that's what I think in the business should do. Is it depends on them what they're going to do, but if they want to do it, you give them the platform, you give them the
mhm.
resources, and you enable them to share their voice.
Yeah, well, honestly, I even told them, like, talk about whatever you feel that your audience might want to listen to, or that you want to talk about. Not necessarily what they want to listen to, but like, let's imagine I'm an expert in whatever, in sales. Doesn't really matter for conversation's sake. I mean, there's a lot of sales advice out there, but if someone documents their journey and brings their own perspective to it, the audience will grow because people will attract like-minded people, and then I just think that can grow exponentially and exponentially if you stick at it. I mean, it's incremental growth that will lead to a boom. Well, if you allow it time.
Yeah, is that how you see the sales today? Like mixing personal with professional with what you bring from the industry, but it also has your personality, the way you present it, the way you go with
Yeah,
it. Is that
I mean,
like the change that is now started to be, a new normal? Let's call it like that.
well, for me, yes, because I'm a person that not everybody will like. It's completely fine. I don't need to be liked by everybody, and I'm not opposed to it. But the people who are with me, they will know that every time I say something, I stick by what I said. Nor do I do anything to go around with what I said or promised. And then that's the same when it comes to the people work that I work with in terms of potential clients, customers, how I conduct myself with other people in the industry, competitors. There's no reason. There's enough room for everybody, and I just bring my own perspective and personality. And then if we vibe or if we don't vibe, it's completely up to that person.
Yeah, and there's a question I want to ask you because I talked about it in a previous episode with Ashley Faust from Atlassian, and
Mm-hmm.
it is, like, should you put that you work in sales or SDR or whatever it is your position in your headline on LinkedIn? If you connect with people, if you do outreach, because there's this stigma that people just try to pitch you with their services, with their product right away, spam
Mm-hmm.
you. What's your experience? Because I know that you've been through a lot, talk with so many people, you have already a great network on LinkedIn. So what's your experience with that?
So I don't necessarily think a headline or a title will make a difference. You can say you're an SDR or a sales rep, or you can say you're not. You just hide it. I think people should be what they are and wear their titles proudly, whatever the title is. But the way that you interact with people is the key thing. So, for example, if I connect and spam you, hey, look, I'm amazing. Check me out because I'm the best thing ever since sliced bread. You should buy my stuff. That's not gonna fly because no one wants that. No one wants that. Not a single person wants that, and you can hear it all over the place. No one wants that. But if you're not posting, if we engage, it's a different conversation. Then, for whatever reason, the DMs will open up to a normal conversation, and then that conversation could lead to a potential partnership or not. Not everybody has to be sold to. I don't. People don't like being sold to. Obviously, there's many books that have said that, but the point is, I think I don't know who said this, but don't sell veggies to a person who only eats meat. There's no reason to. You just if the people want to eat meat, give them meat. If they want to eat veggies, just give them veggies. It's fine. And if they don't want your stuff, just move on. It's completely fine. You don't have to waste energy on closing them, trying to convince them to turn their belief system inside out just because you think they should. That's not the way to go.
I just had a burger before
Obviously.
before we are repeating that, and I was looking at the menu. I just wanted to touch the personalization and to continue on what you just mentioned. And like they have veggie burger, and the name of it is Adopted Son. We didn't want it, but it's now here and we love it. That was the copy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny copy. It's a funny copy, but like, yeah, I mean, it could potentially be annoying to people who like don't eat meat, but it's funny. And at the end of the day, yeah, I just think humor wins.
It's knowing your audience, right? Because
Yeah,
like usually when you sell burgers, that's, you know, your audience in that way, and you can go to a bit of extreme when it comes to those things.
yeah.
But where I want to take this now, as we talked about a little bit in general about the industry, then a little bit about your background, building teams, sales. Now I would like to go back
Hmm.
and talk about selling in the moving industry. Like, it's also B2B industry, but is a B2C industry in
Yeah.
at the same time, and longer sales cycles, but also the smaller ones. How do you integrate all that, and how you set up and sell to those companies and the people within that?
That's that's a lovely question. So there's two components, right?
Hmm.
From our own perspective, we are a company that helps moving companies deal with their customers more effectively to make sure they have everything in line, paperwork, to have everything in one place, so there's nothing missed, right? So we effectively are a B2B business. Now, we do have a service within our business that is a B2C segment, which effectively means that we have a team that is able to sell on behalf of moving companies to their customers, right? It's a different conversation. The sales cycle is very short. It's transactional
Hmm.
sales in a B2C perspective, but the B2B flow is a little bit longer, and it's the same as any other B2B sales. You have SMBs, you have enterprise, you have different types of potential customers, and then sales cycles vary from company to company and how likely they are to adopt tech, if they're tech less, and if they have tech, how likely they are to switch potentially to the new solution. While the transactional sales, I mean, generally it takes a week to close a file, 10 days, 2 weeks. It really depends. In the summer, sales cycle can be 48 hours. It depends how
Nice.
quickly you work. Yeah, it's super fast paced, especially in that segment. And that's going back to the beginning of our conversation. That's why it's super important that if someone calls you yesterday, if someone called not so, if someone called you yesterday, if someone called you yesterday, for you to be able to send messages back to them and reach out if you're not able to give them a call. So it has to be a segment of follow up, because the sales cycle is so short. It has to be a bit aggressive, especially in the summer, because people are looking outside. If not you, they'll find someone else. So
Yeah, and thinking about what you said at the beginning, because it's like a few months period where you actually get all your revenue for the year.
mhm.
Like, it means also that you need to create demand, create awareness, possibly work on creating a brand and being on top of
Mhm.
mind, so when that time comes, you are the person or you're the company they go to, right?
Yes, and it's all about branding. Moving companies generally, all they do blogs, they do SEO, and PPC. But from what I have seen recently, is it's still very, 2005 in terms of how they're being charged by the companies they work with. It's actually, oh, if you want to spend $1,000 on SEO, our service charge is a percentage of that full amount that you're spending. So the marketing agencies that do SEO and PPC in the moving industry are, still doing that way instead of like a SaaS subscription model piece, which I think is the way to go. Um, but yeah, I mean, branding and awareness is where the key thing plays in. And there are moving companies that are out there for over 100 or so years.
Yeah, it's one of these industry where, like, people are still using what works 10 or 20 years ago, because
Yes.
some of them have older leadership, have people who are there for years, and they are rating somebody like you to come in and start changing things. But one thing I want to continue the conversation in that way. It's we talked about it, and like it's so hard to position, for example, on Google in the search for terms related to the moving industry, right? Because there's so many things when you say moving or moving industry or anything related to that, it relates to so many stuff all around the world.
And yeah, I mean, it's for a software play to get positioned. I mean, it's tough because whenever you type in moving software, you'll end up moving companies, PPC ads from these companies in different area codes. They won't be targeted to you. And everybody who types in Google, they're actually looking for moving services, and the vast minority is looking for software, which is the moving companies. And to piggyback off of what you just said before this, they have been doing stuff for 10, 20 years. You know why? Because it worked. And it's also, it worked at that time, and it's also the way that it has been done forever.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go anywhere right now, and then why is there a customs for, I don't know, if you go into the village in Serbia, right? Why is there a custom for weddings to throw the little thing over the house? I have no idea, because it was always done.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's done in that area. Like there's so many. Why do you shoot an apple from a roof or whatever it is? Those are custom, and people are used to it, and it's tradition. And to change all that, it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not saying it should be, but it will take time.
Yeah, and I think it, like we keep doing things until somebody comes in, look at the things from different perspective, or comes from different industry or different, I don't know, cultural background or whatever it is, and says, "Why are you guys doing this? I know a better way," or "Let's try to do this the other way." And this is where the transformation and the change started to happen. I mean, we had this situation with COVID, with other stuff that just accelerated things.
I'll tell you an example. Why can you know at any given time where your food order is on Uber Eats or Global or whatever, but you have no idea where your shipment is? That's worth thousands of dollars. You literally don't know where your shipment is in real time, but you know where your next Papa John's is coming from, or from Quiznos. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And I mean, like I'm now imagining that I'm somebody that owns a couple of trucks and does business, and now like my whole life depends out of knowing if those trucks are safe, where they are, when they are coming to the destination. Right?
If it's safe,
it's a scary fact and a scary moment.
if it's safe, if everything is done, if everything is packed properly. For example, you can put everything in a truck, and if you don't pack it properly, I mean, everything will get broken. And then there's insurance problems, claims problems. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, just imagine, guys, standing on a border in a car, but next to you is a endless line of trucks, and all of them have, luggage, have documents, lots of stuff. Here is your guy Philip jumping in the comments.
He's a big fan of Papa John's and burgers.
Nice, nice.
I mean, yeah, it's not an easy industry, and it's not easy to move furniture. People expect it to be. People want everything right now, right away, and that's what Amazon has done to the consumers. For example, not just Amazon, but I'll use them as an example. Yeah, I want everything right now. I want Amazon Prime. I want the same day delivery. Optimizing that, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
Man, I'm gonna add something because I have this painful in which when you want to get the new pair of Jordans that are now not present in the market here in Serbia, so you need to pay in advance, and then you wait 15 to 30 days so they buy it somewhere out of states and get them back to you, and they just send you the picture, the video. Hey, they are on the way, let's wait while they cross the customs and everything. And then when they arrive, and I'm like, I'm going to 5-day vacation. will they come until I go, or will they come in the middle while I'm somewhere else? And that's another thing. I just want to to put it a little bit closer for the people so they understand how many things are over there inside those things that gives you a headache.
Yeah. Like, why isn't there? It says it should be there at 7:01. It's 7:01:30. Why isn't my stuff here? I mean, it's not. Anyway, yeah, it's not to be a dead horse, but generally, that's why we're looking to help and people who are moving companies, so they can see their shipments live. They can know what's going on with each file. They can take care of the precious stuff that people have, because at the end of the day, that's the line of work that they've chosen to be in.
Mm-hmm. So there's actually two more things, but that I want to pick up your brain on, and it is like you started building your company
Mm-hmm.
with three people in sales, and there are lots of opinion of how you should start building your team. Should it be the product? Should it be marketing? Should it be sales? Of course, you build the product, then you got the sales. But I'm interesting, to pick up your brain on how did you see the structure of the company now when you're just starting.
Well, I do have people who are dealing with the product piece of it, because I can't code to save my life. And the thing is, if you're looking to grow quick and grow fast, you need sales. I can hire other people, I can hire admin people, but without sales, there's no growth. And if you just do email marketing and hope for the best, and like, oh my God, they click, let me call them. I just believe fundamentally that sales should be the first roles that you're looking to get in if you're starting a company, if you have a product, or if it's a service type of company. I mean, but yeah, I think the sales should be the primary driver of early stage growth. Then you can go into product led growth. You can go into other different spheres and all that good stuff when you build your brand. But when you're starting up, I think I believe actually that you should be starting with sales.
Yeah, and the other question was actually going in that direction because I wanted to hear you say that, and I'm gonna ask you to give your perspective on marketing because I know that compared to some other people in sales or some other people in marketing, you have also a different opinion when it comes to what you should do related to the marketing while you are in sales and trying to sell and grow.
I mean, in terms of marketing, my approach, for example, the copy on our website and everything else it has to be a little bit personable. And I'm a huge proponent that marketing and sales are the same thing, but basically, sales marketing is there to create awareness, create brand. Doesn't necessarily have to have always ROI tied to it. If you go like, there's also some vanity metrics that you can have around, but it's in the same business, because you're at the end of the day telling a story about the same business. It's marketing is telling it one way. The sales team you should convey the same story differently. When I say differently, I don't mean like it should be in a different way that is being spoken to potential customers, while raising awareness is a different conversation. So that's why I work with this company that does marketing. They're a small shop. I'm not sure if you heard of them. Something with F. And I started working with them, and because I fully believe that marketing has to be there as well from the beginning. But I again, without cold calling, I'm a huge fan of cold calling anyway. So it's I think they go hand in hand. One doesn't exclude the other.
Yeah, and I can recommend to the guys that fine episode when Steven Smith was our guest, and he talked a lot about those things from a little bit different perspective, but also in the same manner. And I want to ask to tell us a little bit about the part of your development of your business, which is the DriveSales show or the podcast that you are right now recording. And I think when we are now live streaming, when we publish the episode, you will already have the first episode published and live. We'll link that up. But tell me a little bit about who are the guests, what you're trying to do with the podcast, and let's introduce the Drive Sales show to the audience.
Yeah, thank you. This is, by the way, the first time we're going to be speaking about the Drive Sales show. We have a segment on our website. It says like coming soon, but basically, it's to talk with people from the moving and relocation industry about sales, operations, struggles, life, anything in between. It's a very casual conversation from people who have done almost everything within the industry. We'll talk about trucks, we'll talk about labor, we'll talk about operational problems, storage problems, but then we'll also talk about life, how people get recruited, how you hire, how you actually sell to customers, how do you sell as a moving company your services to other corporations, because we haven't touched upon that, because moving companies have a huge segment of their business is also tied to corporations. It's corporate moving. So how does a moving company cater to, let's say, Amazon or Google or Facebook or whomever, and how do they close that deal so they can move their employees? So I will be talking to people about all of that in terms of very casually. There's no prep in terms of scripting. It's very honest, very open, and we just start and have a conversation. It's gonna be like 40, 45 minutes. First episode is dropping, I think, next week. So first week of June at least. So I'm super excited. We have a couple episodes recorded already. Have one more that I'm recording tomorrow. So I'm excited about where that is going.
And that's actually all that we talk about here on the podcast. It's, building relationships with people that you possibly already know, have worked with, or just got into the communication and engagement inside the comments, and you want to get their perspective on the things, on the industry, the way they do things. And I think it's a great way to learn where you are at the moment, learn about their processes, about where they are in the whole game that they are playing, and see if there's a fit somewhere that maybe in the future you can do something together.
It's also about understanding where you breathe and where you live. So that way, if there is a necessity, that you can actually pivot quickly to make sure that you cater to the actual need of the people that will be utilizing whichever product or service that you're offering.
Yeah, sounds good. Can't wait to jump into listening to that. And guys, what I can recommend you is not listening to the DriveSales show. That's obviously
What do you
what
mean?
we already recommended.
Oh yeah, like
But
what do you mean? I don't recommend you to listen to the show. That is
but
not cool. It's like
you
that's not
know,
cool.
I think you need from time to time to get out of your industry and just go and listen to what people in other industries are doing. For example, like Drive Sales Show, to see what's happening in the movie industry, or what's happening in sales if you're in marketing, or going ahead and listening. I don't know, like both Milo and I are fans of old school hip hop, those kind of stuff, and you can learn lots of stuff from hip hop artists. They are all entrepreneurs doing so many different things. So try to get the knowledge also outside of your industry and to put it in work for you. Uh, Milo, tell me one thing. What did we forget to say, or is there something that that else you want to talk about?
Uh, I I don't know. I don't think we forgot anything. We might, as this was a casual conversation, we might have forgotten a bunch of things. But to be fair, I think this went well so far. If you think we forgot something, you by all means can ask me.
Who
So
knows?
I don't
But
know.
guys, just to let you know that this is the first time that we are trying something new with a podcast, with a live stream. So like both Milovan and I are streaming on our LinkedIn profiles at the same time, and see how how everything is working, how's the traction going, because we are trying to involve communities as much as possible. And now, like as a host of the podcast, it's nice to give a chance to the guests that they can talk to their communities in the same way, and we can be in the same conversation with my audience as well. So that's kind
Right.
of an interesting thing to do, and I think it's a step up when it comes to engaging communities and I mean, just being more visible to the people that when I publish the episode, not many people who are in the LinkedIn feed will actually.
And yeah, and the thing is, if you don't listen, it's fine. But generally, just to touch base on the Dry Sales show, it's not necessarily just moving. We'll be talking about business in general, but that industry. We'll talk about sales, how you train, coach people, how you manage people, how you deal with difficult conversations, how you deal with problems, because all of that is very applicable to any industry or like literally any industry, but it's just at a different level. How do you talk to someone when you broke their shipment like it's worth $50,000 or you smashed their car in? Those are all difficult conversations that you will have on a day-to-day basis, maybe with employees, with your family, friends. Doesn't matter. So we'll be talking about a bunch of different stuff. So if you guys are keen, check it out. If you're not keen, also check it out. Anyways,
Okay, what is in my mind right now that I need to bring Nadia Komnenich from Lemlis back with you and talk about how to build sales teams. That would be a great topic and a great combo with two of you talking about those stuff.
I like Naja. We actually worked together for a bit. So yeah, it could be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, tell the people where they can find more info about you.
Basically, it's drivesales.com. So if you guys go on drivesales.com, you will see the company, you will see what we do. You can contact us. There's a form, obviously, or you can jump on my profile on LinkedIn. It's Milovan Milosevic. There's three more people that are within the company. You can check out drivesales.com LinkedIn profile page. You'll find them. It's Mina, Philip, and Vesna. So you can find us if you have any questions. We're here to help at the end of the day.
Nice, guys. I recommend you now because like we move a lot back and forth and we made the full circle. So go back to the beginning of the episode, listen to each part, stop wherever you feel the need, then maybe go do your research, maybe send a message to Milan to ask him a couple of questions, and and let us know what you think about the episode, and make sure to follow Drive Sales Show. It's on YouTube. It's on all the podcast platform audio, right?
Yep.
So make sure you do that. And basically, what we always say at the end is just keep it funky, guys. That's the most important thing. Bye
Keep it
bye.
funky.